I don't care if you have a 9-to-5 job. You 100% can be a real estate investor, and I'm going to prove it to you with this conversation that I have on today's podcast. It's going to absolutely blow your mind with the amount of opportunities that can fall into your lap if you're being wildly proactive, if you're staying disciplined, and if you have a plan. Watch this wholesaler, flipper, developer, and full-time W-2-er. Watch this conversation. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I guess listen to this conversation. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I've got an entrepreneur out of Atlanta. Here we go. From one of my favorite cities in the United States, Atlanta, Georgia, Stacey Pitts, welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Super excited to be here.
Listen to this, everybody. Stacy currently is a full-time W-2, corporate job. Also, by the way, has 7 pending wholesale deals, closed 1 deal, has 6 pending wholesale deals, is building 4 short-term rentals, has 3 current flips, and 1 long-term rental. You are busy.
So busy.
How do you handle all this?
With a carefully managed schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was on a very specific path in corporate America. I worked in finance for a really long time. I spent a lot of time, large industrials. I spent several years working at General Electric. I spent a couple of years in private equity. And private equity really just, working with a company to acquire other companies, startups and such. So deep financial experience. Definitely in COVID, kind of started to really hit a wall. I thought I wanted to be a CFO, but I really did not want to be a CFO. And I started to really ask myself, there has to be more. Always been interested in real estate. So personally, before we even got this started, definitely was on our 3rd house, bought and sold, we started with FHA and kind of worked our way out from there. But my dad was a contractor growing up, and my aunt had a mortgage company. So was always super interested and wanted to eventually get into that. But, I'd say a lot of people who want to get started, when you are kind of thinking about it. I didn't have any cash when I got out of college. I graduated in 2008, and it was the financial crisis. So it took me a while to kind of build up, but I just kind of hit a wall, and we just wanted to do something different. So I actually changed my entire career trajectory. I left that private equity job, and I actually went to Honeywell. I took a big job at Honeywell. I was a cash leader for an entire business unit at Honeywell, one of the big ones, just to get in the door. And then I kind of took a step to the side, and kind of knew I could forge a path of finding something I could do from home, have full-time work from home status. And that's what I have now. So that's how I'm able to do both. But it's definitely, my W-2 job, I deal a lot with sales. So it's very deal specific.
Yep.
So I really sit down every single night and look at my W-2 job and look at my real estate job, and I block out blocks of time, and I try to stick to that. And it never goes as planned, but it just helps me stay on track. And then I try to, I'm going to quit by X time, and then I just, allow myself to work late, maybe 2 days a week, and I do mornings on the weekends. So,
have you always been this disciplined?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
I think my parents, I didn't grow up, with neither one of them were college educated. But they always just said, if you, work hard and, you can kind of get to where you want to go. I graduated top of my class in high school and just sort of forged a path into college and out that way. And so, it kind of carried me through my professional career. I think it's, how I was able to progress and take on bigger jobs. I just, reached a point where I was just unhappy with every job. And I thought, well, why is that? And it's really because I really wanted to be more of an entrepreneur, and I just didn't really like tap into that as much until, the quiet of COVID,
Yeah.
really kind of brought that reflection where, we were all kind of locked inside some more than we would want to. And we were in our quarantine pods. And so I just took imperfect action and decided I want to buy a rental. And then, my two partners, actually, I met one of them working at General Electric 12 years ago, and we've been friends ever since. And then my other partner I met through mutual friends, and we were all in the quarantine pod together. And I asked them if they wanted to be a part of it, and they said yes. So we just started, and then here we are. So, yeah.
So for a super high achiever like yourself, why real estate? You know what I mean? There's a lot of different paths to go down. I mean, you could certainly climb up and go bananas in the corporate sector. I understand that you've got that entrepreneur inside you ready to break free. But oftentimes we quiet those noises inside of us just because it's comfortable. I mean, even going through COVID, there was a lockdown.
It's perceived comfort, though. It's perceived. It's not real. Yeah, I think a lot of people working in the corporate world, they think that a steady paycheck is always going to be there. But having been on the other side and worked in financial planning and been the one working on restructuring projects, it's perceived security. It's not real. They can just pull the rug out from under you at any moment. I'm lucky and that hasn't happened to me yet, but it will. And sometimes, not to everyone, but to a lot of people it does. And you find yourself without a side hustle or out there in the world, and you don't have anything else. You just have your W-2 or your 401k, and that's just not enough. And real estate's fun. I love spaces. I love to see things come together. So I love a project. And so, I mean, ultimately our goal with our company, which we're called Freestone Ventures, Freestone's actually a peach. We named it after that because we all live in Georgia. But really the long-term goal is to diversify more. Real estate is a part of the portfolio. I actually want to use the profits from real estate to go buy other companies as well.
Sure.
So I just think, buying assets, if you're into rentals, allows you to, essentially create income streams for yourself. I like to have multiple and be diversified. We invest in a lot of different things, but I also think real estate is a lot more achievable than people think. I think, there's not always a lot of examples of even people like myself who have just said, I'm going to divert my corporate career that I've spent years building to go do this other thing. Can you really do it? You can do it. It's hard. But you can. And I mean, I think it's more accessible path to other things.
The hard parts there, Stacy, what were the initial challenges that you were facing making that transition? You're coming into 2021, and 2021 is really when you started taking action. I mean, you're incredible, Stacy. I love this because you're like, hey, listen, I'm going to be the best at school. I'm going to be the best at college. I'm going to be the best at corporate. I'm going to grow. And then you know what? Oh, the COVID kind of gives me a chance to take a break here and look at things. You know what? I'm going to go be the best at real estate. I'm going to start that in 2021. And so here you are. And you're doing amazing things. I mean, the plate that you have right now is so full of exciting projects, and you're doing that on top of getting a paycheck. And so just absolutely incredible. But making that transition, what are those challenges there that people can expect? Because a lot of people listening to this are driving to work, and they're like, holy cow, I've got this entrepreneur inside of me. I have that perceived comfort, right, of this paycheck. And I want to make a change myself. So help navigate those waters.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is really, as you grow up in America, right, we're all really kind of taught to be really good soldiers and good employees.
Sure.
And I think really asking yourself, is like that what I want to be? I think is like the first question. And I think the hardest thing for me was the fear mainly because, you know, I really valued my perceived security and being able to, you know, count on, you know, that check every week and count on, you know, if I put X amount of dollars in the stock market, the average return is X. I know I'm probably going to get close to that, or I'm going to have this 401k that I can't touch until I'm old enough not to enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
And I started to really challenge those things. So I think the biggest thing I think a lot of people have to overcome is fear. And then I think the second thing is capital. It's really hard if you don't have capital. It's incredibly difficult. I mean, we've found ourselves in many times where we, you know, when we bought those lots in Mexico Beach, we rolled a 1031 to get those instead of taking those profits. And we found ourselves where, oh, I guess we're going to have to pay our operating costs for however many months. But we wanted to push ourselves to take on more investors, take on private money, find those other people that could help us scale. So I think the other big boundary is definitely capital. And so what I would say to people who are on the fence, don't let that be a barrier. There's always capital. And if you go and talk to people, like you say all the time, just talk to people. Mm-hmm. Talk to people at a real estate meetup, talk to people at the bar, talk to people in your circle, and then they're, you know, outside your circle, your friends' circles. Somebody out there wants to invest in something besides, you know, a bond or a stock. You know, they want to put their money into something that is a little bit different, that they can get more returns, a tangible asset. So I think capital and fear were my two biggest barriers.
I love it.
And just, am I going to be able to succeed, and getting comfortable with the unknowing, you know, not knowing what's going to happen next week. I think wholesale, especially, I was like, okay, so we're going to throw these marketing dollars out there and see what happens. And, you know, it's tough, but you just keep going and you get that proof of concept and you start to really think, oh, wow, you know, this, if I can scale up times 20, I'm in a different, like, you're a few deals away from a life change.
Yep.
You're always a couple deals away from a life change.
Yeah, I love it. So three main skills to build as a real estate entrepreneur. Number one, find deals. Number two, raise capital. Number three, property management. Those are the three big skills, and it kind of goes in that order. And I was thinking about this, Stacy, last night, and wanted to get your thoughts on it. But I was thinking about you get number one figured out. You get the finding deals figured out. That's like, you get that figured out, you're set. I mean, there's so many different exit strategies that you can use. But I was thinking about wholesaling, and I was thinking about the second part of raising funds. And I feel like wholesaling is the ultimate raising funds, because you literally
fabulous.
You go into, well, in a couple different ways. You go into a relationship with an investor that has all the money to buy this deal. Not only do they have all the money to buy that deal, they'll pay you for the opportunity to buy that deal. So they want to replace you. I find that that's an incredible way to raise funds and meet people that already have those funds in case you want to start doing some partnerships, you want to start doing development, you want to start doing some flips, you want to do some buy and hold on bigger projects. That's the pool that you could go talk to, or the people that are buying your wholesale deals.
Yeah. The guy that bought my first wholesale deal, I'm buying a deal from him.
Yeah.
I just bought a deal from him. I'm closing next week because it's in a great little spot, and it's, you know, it's an area we don't know if we're even going to sell it or keep it as a rental. We might do a burr on it, but it meets all the metrics. It could be a short-term rental, a long-term rental, a sale. We can do anything with it. And I just really like it. It's a cute little house. So
awesome. It was reciprocation there. That's what it is. But you build relationships. I'll tell you, everybody wants to be your friend if you have a smoking hot deal. Everybody. Title companies, lenders, buyers, other wholesalers, everybody wants to be your friend if you can figure out how to go find deals. So, Stacy, how do you find your deals?
On wholesale or flips or all the above?
All of it. Let's start with
yeah, so for wholesale right now, we are doing PPL. I just have one.
PPL stands for?
Pay-per lead. So like you say, you know, when those leads come in, you got to call them fast. So, I mean, I've been on PPL, so I literally can give a couple examples. I've been on a conference call and I've been like, hey, I'm done with my part. And I'm like, I'm going to drop now. And then I go call the PPL lead,
Yep.
which don't tell anyone that. But we're doing PPL. And so we're probably closing, I think my metrics are we're probably closing like 1 and 9, which I think is pretty good.
That's incredible.
And actually on all of our deals, all of them except for one have come from PPL, mainly just because of time right now.
Sure. Yep.
And in that breakdown of those 7 wholesale deals, 2 actually are creative sub-2 deals. 2 of them are land deals. 1 is a novation deal. 1 is a seller finance deal, and only 1 is a cash deal. I love creative finance, so I always love it when those come my way. But that's on wholesale. And then flips, actually it's a combination, other wholesalers, and then I have agent outreach. So I have a couple agents that are looking for actually stuff that's listed in a higher price point that is sitting. And we have one right now we're about to close on. It's actually listed for like $100K more, and we're getting it at a discount. Somebody's in distress. They need to get rid of it. It's a great house. It's in a great school district. It's like $1 million house, but it needs a lot of work, cosmetic mostly. But my other flip, the first flip that we did, we actually also found on market. And I think so many investors before us had passed because it had foundation issues, but we just asked them to give us a credit for the foundation, and they gave it to us, and we got it at a deep discount, and it was a great deal. Awesome. But in reality, I think in the future, all of our flips will likely come from our wholesale business as we build it out and scale and start to hire people.
Yep.
I think any of those deals where the cash on cash return, if I can take it down as a flip, if it's, medium cosmetic, light cosmetic especially, is higher than the wholesale, I'll just wait the 3 or 4 months for the cash. My cash conversion cycle will just be longer, but ideally my goal is in the next 12 months to scale to where we're at least running like 5 marketing channels, like 5 to 7. I really want to focus more on inbound. And my first deal that we closed actually was a probate. So I actually I signed up for US leads list. So I definitely want to do more probates. I think it might be a good avenue for us because now I understand the process and I've made friends with all the Fulton County probate people. So
that's awesome. And so is it just when you're looking at a deal that comes in from an agent, from your PPL, are you putting it through a certain filter to determine the exit strategy, and how do you determine that?
Yeah, so if a PPL lead comes in, usually I can kind of get them on the phone and kind of look up their stuff on PropStream or Zillow or, Flip Finder or whatever really quick and kind of understand, like, is this going to be a novation? In my mind, high level, like novation, creative, cash, what's their, I have to find out their motivation, but I can kind of in my mind think of that. And then, if it's a cash deal, I'm going to look at it anyways. I'm going to have either someone go take photos or I'm going to go do it in person. And so I'll know if it's something we want to take on. I have a calculator that I've built that just kind of gives me all the paybacks and out of pocket with like my standard terms with my hard money lender. And so we'll just look at it like that. And right now we're not as focused on, obviously we want to generate cash flow, but some of these, even this Kennesaw, it's in Kennesaw, but this deal, the $1 million house deal, I thought about wholesaling it, but profit margin's way too high. I'm going to keep it for myself to flip it. But it's really just kind of looking at it. And then once you're talking to the homeowner and kind of understanding what their motivation is, you can kind of set that follow-up appointment and do that analysis. I think we're always going to run like a dual dispo for some of those flip deals between wholesale and flip.
Yep.
That it's not a lot of effort to send it to my lender if I think it's a good deal, but at the same time, I'm going to put it out to some buyers to see if, it's something we just want to unload. But it's really looking at that analysis and doesn't it meet the metrics for us for cash on cash return for a flip.
That's what, how important is cash on cash to you?
I think right now it's probably more important because we're trying to raise more cash flow so we can scale and hire people and build out the business and exit our W-2s. I think I want to always have room in a flip. If it has multiple exit strategies and I know I can keep it as a BRRRR, I'm not as concerned about it because I'm going to keep it as a rental. But if it doesn't have that long-term rental cash flow exit strategy and a short-term rental exit strategy doesn't exist, the cash on cash is going to be important to me. And so if it's easier, we might just wholesale that deal instead.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's break down a deal.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
So you just closed one. And you just started wholesaling really June 15th of this year. So, you know, less than 90 days really. How'd you find it? What was going on with the seller? What was going on with the property? And then eventually we'll pull the thread and find out what you made on it and ring this victory bell. But tell me about the deal.
So the first deal, I'm going to talk about the first deal we closed. It came through PPL, pay per lead.
By the way, what company do you like for pay per lead?
I started out with iSpeed to lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
they're pretty good. I want to try out some of the others, but I've had success with it, so I'm just kind of keeping it going. I think some of it has to do with the market. Atlanta's a good market on iSpeed, so I'm kind of honing in more on Fulton and Cobb counties. I started out with like a wider net of metro counties, but I've kind of narrowed it down. I personally live in Cobb County, so I know all the neighborhoods and it's just easier.
What's your average cost per lead?
So if you do more than a certain amount of counties, it's like 230.
Got it. 230.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that lead came in, called the seller. They're super distressed. It was a probate deal. And I say it's a probate deal. I didn't know that when I first talked to them. The mom and the dad had died like 3 to 5 years before, but the estate had not been probated properly. I didn't learn that until they started to pull title, but they were in desperate need of money to just get out of their house is like one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's really disgusting, bad environment for them to be in. So we really wanted to try to get them out quickly. We got it under contract in, a couple of days. It's in a really, niche kind of small area of Fulton County. It's usually people don't move from that area unless they pass away. So they just were looking to get out of this house, and it had great bones. It was a really pretty house, especially on the outside, and it was like a 4-2 or something, but it was definitely like a full gut job. There's just like mold. I think the water had been leaking, there's just like a really bad situation.
Sure.
So we wanted to get them, out of there quickly. We put it under contract at actually a higher price than we ended up with before we knew exactly what was happening. But and then we learned quickly that they had not probated the estate properly. So instead of, letting it go through that process, we just consulted with our attorney and he kind of told us what we needed to do. I just picked the seller up and drove her to Fulton County Courthouse, and we filled out the paperwork to get permission to sell, and we figured out a workaround with a quitclaim deed on the mom's estate. And we paid for her a lot of Ubers to go do stuff. She didn't have a car. Her car had been stolen. Yep. So we kind of went above and beyond, but I just thought I want to learn the probate process. I want to know, I want to make connections with these people at the office because I want to do more probate deals. I think this is a good low-hanging fruit. We can definitely help people in the process. So we originally put it under contract for, I think it was like $130K. We ended up exiting with like a buy price from them for $100,000. Mm-hmm. And then I assigned it for $115.
115?
Yeah.
So you made 15,000?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah. Yay.
I love it. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
But
And
yeah, no, but this one was a good one. I mean, we were able to help, some people in trouble and get them on their way and get them out of their house. It was a health hazard for them to stay there. So,
for sure,
yeah.
most of I'll tell you, the deals that are the quickest, like start to finish, they're ready to get out and done. I mean, these properties are destroyed. I'll tell you this, Stacy. My acquisition manager, Joshua, locked up a deal Friday that had been fire damaged,
Yeah.
right? Like the inside, the kitchen had been on fire and the garage. He went back on Monday to get pictures of the property, and there's smoke coming out of the ceiling, out of the roof.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So he had to call the fire department. They're like, "Oh, the house is on fire again." Right? And
Oh
so
my
the
God.
fire department came. They did their whole thing. They thought Joshua was the one that started. He's like, "Listen, we're just buying this house. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
But these are the type of properties that we're working on. I mean,
Yeah.
inside destroyed. I mean, not and by the way, the fire damage isn't even the worst part. It's the way that everything was just left. I think they had squatters in there and all sorts of shenanigans,
gosh,
and pets and smells and all sorts of things. Listen, the smellier they are,
I
the
know.
better the deals.
And there's apparently, I mean, there are people that just do like excessively nasty houses.
Yeah.
They know exactly what to do. I myself I'm not planning to do those type of rehab. So I immediately was like, this is not a flip for me.
Not in a million years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
not in a million years. But listen,
Yeah.
we put that property out. We have it under contract at $110,000. Fixed up, it goes for $325,000. We put it out. We instantly had offers at $25,000 and $27,000 for what we would make on that. That's just a testament that the uglier the properties, the bigger the checks.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Definitely.
The more investment, the more risk, the better price that you can get, the better price that you can pass on to your cash buyers, which is phenomenal. So, I love it, Stacy. I love it. And isn't that great getting that 15,000 and then
Yeah.
you're just
It was super exciting.
right?
Well, and I felt really happy that they could move too, but I was super pumped. Yeah. I mean, it does feel really good to get that first assignment and kind of see it happen, within the 90 days was really exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, speak now just to everybody that's just getting started, or maybe they've done some deals but can't get the consistency, or maybe they have a job, full-time job, and
Yeah.
They're looking at ways to be able to replace their income. Give some advice to them.
I would just say, don't quit. It's nothing that is easy. Nothing's going to come easy. You got to
Yep.
put in the work. It's with anything. I look back over all the years I've, been in corporate America, and some of those were easier than others, but it's always a challenge. Like, don't be afraid of the challenge and the unknown, because just around the corner is going to be that buyer, that capital partner, a JV partner, someone that is looking for you. And so just keep moving and just keep talking to people.
Yep.
I think that's the biggest thing. Like, put yourself out there. A lot of people are going to tell you no, but it really only takes one or two people to tell you yes.
Yep.
And that's just with anything in life, I think, is that, a lot of people have told me no, but, you just got to kind of like forge the path and keep busting through the door, because it's not as unattainable as it seems. I think you say this a lot on your podcast, but I think wholesale in general, and even flipping and other things, you're not that far away from your life completely changing.
Yep.
And your outlook completely changing.
100%.
So just keep moving. And I will say, for anybody that's, still in their W-2 job, you can do this and still work. Like, you don't have to do PPL and, answer right when it comes. You can do cold call. There's other ways. You can even go on the, on the MLS and look at people have stuff listed, who have mortgages that are about equal to the sell price. Call them up. You got a creative deal, sub 2, you're in. You just have to think a little bit more creatively than maybe you would otherwise. Get creative with your time.
Well, and listen, I think what a huge part that you talked about was just that perceived
Mm-hmm.
security. And I remember my dad worked at Honeywell.
Yeah.
They moved us. My dad started climbing the ladders. He took us to Australia, right? We
Yeah.
lived in Australia because of Honeywell. We lived in
Mm-hmm.
Frankfurt, Germany because of Honeywell. He was
Yeah.
there for, I don't know, 22, 23 years.
Yeah.
2008 comes around. Boom. They start giving everybody the axe, start giving everybody packages to
Yeah.
just bye-bye. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's
No,
bananas for
that's
all of
normal.
that, all of that building that he's done for that
Mm-hmm.
company, and they're just like, we're restructuring some things here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's business. He didn't take it personally or anything like that. He wasn't like all sad, but he
Yeah.
was like, it's just that's the reality of life.
That's
And
right.
so
Yeah.
I think that if you have that entrepreneur inside you, you have to let it out, let that beast loose, let that
Mm-hmm.
rhinoceros inside of you out, and let it charge. So, Stacey,
Yeah.
you're
And I
such
mean,
a great
you're
example of that.
you're gonna have days where you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders. I'm sure you feel it. You have employees, you've got people working for you and with you, and that's a lot. But at the same time, it's really no different than anything else if you just build it up.
Yep.
It's the same thing. I just would urge anyone who's on the fence just to do something, and something will turn into the next something. It's just, I always say it's doing the next right thing. It doesn't have to be the absolute thing. It just has to be the next right thing. So
Yep.
just do the next thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
How can people reach out to you?
Well, I am on Instagram. Our company is called Freestone Ventures. So our website is freestone-ventures.com. And then, of course, I can be reached on email, Stacy at freestoneventures.com. Our Instagram handle is freestone .ventures.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you
Guys,
can
reach out. Stacy's in Atlanta. If you're in Atlanta,
Yes.
you've got deals they're buying. If you want to just connect with somebody that's really amazing, make sure you
Thanks.
send a DM and start a relationship. Don't be shy. That's how we all do this, is by networking and connecting and squatting up together. Stacy, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Awesome. A
Thanks.
couple of resources, guys, that Stacy mentioned. U.S. Leads List, absolutely phenomenal. Give you the pre-probates. It is the #1 list that the Rhino Tribe here at Wholesaling Inc. goes after. Check that out at usleadlist.com. Let Micah, who is a Rhino, by the way, know that you heard about their company from us, and you should be on the short list if they've already got your area sold out. iSpeed to Lead is a PPL company that is a pay per lead. They have a discount. They actually give you a credit if you use the TTP code, TTP, like talk to people. And also TTPleads.com is property leads. That's another one, another popular one in the Rhino Tribe is TTPleads.com. That is another PPL company. And of course, guys, if you're interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, go to wholesalinginc.com, wholesalinginc.com, apply for a call with my team. It's a phenomenal call with just unbelievable enthusiasm. It's not this weird, call with somebody that is in like a call center or anything. It's my people here in the office, and they're talking to you and just seeing what's going on with your real estate journey, and really looking at 4 main factors: the market you're in, the experience that you have, the budget that you have, and what does your schedule look like. Based on those, we could put together a really solid plan for you to be successful as a real estate entrepreneur. So wholesalinginc.com, check that out. And that's it. As always, my name is Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP. I encourage you to go out there and talk to people. Love you guys. See ya.